Good morning, Mount Vernon. This is Comptroller Darren Morton. I am the chair of the Real Estate Committee. We are going to call this Real Estate Committee to order for Thursday, May 2nd. Yeah, and we're going to ask that our secretary will then call the roll.
Controller Morton,
Present.
Assessor Vanderpool,
Present.
Council President Gleason.
Present.
You have a quorum. It is now 9:24.
Okay, so approval of the minutes from the last meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
And I second it. And I second it.
It's been probably moved in second. We're ready for the roll call.
Controller Morton,
Aye.
Co-Chair Vanderpool,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, are there any guests? There are none inside the chamber. Are there any guests online? None. All right. So then we will proceed with the written correspondence.
Okay. Since the last meeting, Levine Nemhan came in person to inquire about obtaining property lists. The information was provided along with this meeting's link. Mr. Donnie McTaggart of Ederson Avenue Development Group LLC came in person to inquire about the best and final offer process. He has an offer on 146 South 13th Street. Lily Mazurek phoned requesting the status for the best and final offer, and so did Valen Nakai. Barry Nemham phone follow-up on a conversation again with the chair regarding affordable housing initiative. Both the meeting link and the links to the previous meeting minutes were provided to him for information. Tajon Wilson also came in person. The link was provided for this meeting, and Floyd Adams came in person requesting a status. He has an offer on 16 Glen Avenue.
Mr. Chair?
No, this is not that's not the right meeting. I'm reading.
Go ahead. Yes.
So I'm curious because the agenda that I have doesn't have any of that correspondence on it.
I'm realizing now that.
Yeah, we just realized that what was happening is I was reading from the she was reading from the March
Okay.
from the March meeting. So
Gotcha,
we're going
gotcha.
to
Okay.
regroup. We're going to regroup it.
Yeah.
So while she internet is getting it, we have the correspondence, right? You got Jorge Abera,
Ibarra?
right?
Mhm.
Actually in about communication about best and final offers received in person, right? That was on April 2nd.
Yeah.
And that is for 224 North 7th Avenue. Right?
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay.
That was the family that came in the last meeting, so we do have their best and final offer on record. Andrea Belloni has an offer on 331 South 2nd Avenue phone requests, status for the best and final offer, for process. And Yves Scherer has an offer on 147 and 152 South Fourth Avenue. He came in person requesting the status of the best and final offer process.
Okay. All right. So in response, I guess, to all the inquiries about the property, so what we have been doing, at least in the finance department, is we've begun to try to pull all of the information around expenses related to these properties. What we're trying to do is to kind of get as much of an updated, cost related to these properties, because as you know, that once we start making decisions around the properties, what we're going to, accept as offers, that we also have to know what that amount is as it pertains to what was owed on the property and any expenses related to the time in which we actually had the property in our possession. Because anything beyond that, then we have to have at least a mechanism in place for an escrow for those who actually previously owned the properties. And so, that is the process. That's, again, while I understand for most people that this has been taking a very, very long time, but in the midst of us even beginning the process, there also was a change kind of in the law too. And there's still, even from the standpoint of the statewide, trying to figure out how this law really impacts municipalities. And so therefore, rather than moving swiftly to make a decision on these properties and then having to actually pay back people and find money that we did not properly put into a escrow for them, didn't make any sense. So that's the reason why it has been taking so long. And even for those who may have previously had a bid in for those properties, they need to take into consideration the fact that we now have a new law that actually affects this. And so even with that, it may also adjust how we kind of proceed forward. So I am hoping that we will at least have in part information related to some of these properties for our next meeting to be able to make some sort of recommendation. I am not confident that we're going to have all of the information for all of the properties. And so we're going to start to kind of stage these things forward. All right. Any questions or comments about that? All right, moving on to new and old and new business. Is there any old or new business? We do know that there's a proposal that right now is being vetted from Sentinel related to properties that are located or clustered in the 200 block of South Fourth Avenue. And so while that proposal is being vetted, and we're waiting to hear a general kind of interest or direction from the administration and the city council. Once that is done, we will then have a fuller discussion about our recommendation related to that proposal and those properties. Okay. Any other new business, old business? The putting assets at work, they are finalizing the actual playbook. And right now, I think it's out for design. And once we have that, then we'll also have some additional information on a strategy and path forward related to city-owned properties.
Mr. Chair, can we just get back to the Sentinel
Yes.
and discussing the process? so I can make sure that, because there has been some confusion over it. So now the process would be where city council will make the recommendation to the real estate committee.
No.
No, it's not that they're making a recommendation. We wanted,
Okay.
we said to them, it made no sense for us even to consider it if it wasn't, if it was not something that the city council and the administration, meaning the mayor, was even interested in. So
Okay.
what we, from what our understanding is that both the city council and the mayor thought that it was something to at least consider. So at this point, I believe the direction from the city's attorney has been for them to go ahead on and put together, in addition to their proposal, a ground lease kind of, a draft of a ground lease for those things,
Yes.
for them to come back to us here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, just to give you an update on that, Councilman Potteet have made some recommendations to Penrose. They have adjusted, and I believe that all questions that, council had presented to the developer have been answered. And, the AMIs have been adjusted to be more favorable, to Mount Vernon. Not so much, low income. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on that. So we're currently waiting for the draft of the ground lease.
Yeah. And so that should, but from process, that probably should come here.
Okay, got it.
And then from here, go to the city council. Okay,
For review, yep.
right. And and one of the things we also want to keep in mind and make sure that Sentinel also knows is that those properties also are also slated for potential inclusion in this grant from the federal government to help with kind of really developing it, right? Now that means, and again, Sentinel could be a part of that as well, but it only will probably make the prospect of this project better if that is a selection. Now, it's one of those, but it's not the only one, because we also have another city-owned property that actually is right now municipal use that was also recommended for that grant as well as a potential kind of development project for transit. It's a transit related kind of grant to help to promote the development of properties that are within a half-a-mile radius from transit to try to foster the development of that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that update.
Okay. Are there any other new business? Okay, if not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Roll call.
Controller Morton,
Aye.
Assessor Vanderpool,
Aye.
Council President Gleason.
Aye.
All right, thank you. The meeting is adjourned at 9:37 p.m.
AM.
Thank you so much.
AM, right, not PM. All right, thank
You're
you.
rushing the day.